So, what's really the difference between thinking about sex and actually doing it? I mean, from your brain's point of view. Today, we're going to dig into the fascinating science that separates our wildest fantasies from, well, reality.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start inside the command center, the brain itself. Then we'll zoom out to see how the whole body gets in on the action. After that, we'll look at the powerful chemical cocktail of hormones at play. And finally, we'll land on a verdict about what this all means. So, this is the big question, right? Is a fantasy just a kind of watered down version of the real thing for our brain? Or is something totally different going on under the hood? Let's find out. Okay, first stop on our tour, the brain. We're going to take a peek inside and see which parts light up when we're lost in thought versus when we're, lost in the moment.
Okay, so think of your brain on fantasy like a full blown movie studio. You've got the prefrontal cortex as the director, setting the scene and calling the shots. The limbic system is providing the emotional soundtrack, pulling from your memories and feelings. And the reward system, that's the hype machine, pumping out dopamine, getting you excited for what's next. It is a blockbuster production, all happening inside your head.
But wait, that's just what's happening in your mind. Reality brings the entire body into the picture, and with it come two absolute game changers, touch and action. And this, right here, is where things really start to diverge.
And you can see the overlap here, right? All the same brain circuits from fantasy are fired up during reality. But reality adds two huge new players to the team: the somatosensory cortex, which is basically your brain's touch sensor, and the motor cortex, which controls all your movements. It's the difference between watching a movie and actually being the star of it.
So, this isn't just about a couple of extra brain regions lighting up. Oh no, that extra activity sends signals cascading down through your entire nervous system. Let's see how that actually plays out. I mean, just look at this contrast. When it comes to fantasy, things are pretty quiet, physically. It's like a low hum in the background. But reality, that is a full-on symphony of signals. Your senses are firing on all cylinders, your muscles are engaged, your heart is pounding. It's a total whole-body experience. And here is where it gets really fascinating. Remember the prefrontal cortex, our brain's director, the center of rational thought and self-control? Well, during a real orgasm, it actually takes a break. It partially shuts down. And that's why we feel that incredible sense of abandon and release. It's a moment of pure feeling without that usual filter of conscious control.
So we've seen the brain's wiring and the body's response. Now, let's talk chemistry. Because hormones, my friends, are the secret sauce that makes these two experiences feel so profoundly different. First up is dopamine. You can think of it as the I gotta have it hormone. Fantasy definitely gives you a nice little taste, a moderate hit of it. But reality, whoa, that delivers the full feast. It's the difference between looking at a picture of a delicious cake and actually eating the whole thing. Now let's look at oxytocin, the famous cuddle hormone. This is the stuff that creates those deep feelings of bonding and connection. And as you can see, fantasy barely moves the needle. But real physical intimacy? That unleashes a massive surge. It's literally the chemical reason why intimacy feels so, well, intimate. And the party does not stop there. In a real encounter, you've also got prolactin flooding your system for that deep feeling of satisfaction afterward. You've got endorphins giving you a wave of pure pleasure, and adrenaline is there to get your heart racing. It's a complex chemical cocktail that your imagination, as powerful as it is, just can't mix on its own. Okay, brain, body, hormones. We've covered a lot of ground. So what's the bottom line here? How do fantasy and reality truly stack up against each other? Get ready for this number. fMRI studies have actually shown that a sexual fantasy can light up our brain's reward system up to 60% as much as the real deal. Let that sink in for a second. Our imagination, all by itself, can get us more than halfway to the real neurological payoff. I mean, that is just incredible, right? It shows you the sheer power of our minds. We can cook up a surprisingly real sense of reward just with our thoughts. But it also shows us where the line is drawn. You can't think your way into that full-body experience or that massive hormonal rush. And this brings us to this really cool term that neuroscientists use. They call sexual fantasy a reward system simulator. And it's a perfect analogy, isn't it? It's like a flight simulator for your brain. You get to experience the thrill, practice the maneuvers, and feel the reward, all without ever actually leaving the ground. So while fantasy and reality are clearly different beasts, the power of our mind to simulate an experience is just undeniable. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If our imagination is this good at its job, What other realities are we capable of creating for ourselves just by thinking?